I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, and I've always enjoyed popping open packs and testing my luck. I've spent years buying and selling cards and amassing a collection, but now we throw it all away. This series aims to embody the ride, as nothing beats the feeling of pulling the one card you need or an expensive chase card that everyone's looking for. With $50 every other week, we have 3 goals: build a collection, crack packs, and win games using only sealed products. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Restart! And we're back with the penultimate episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Restart, Charmers Edition. Today we've got heartbreak, action, excitement, and card games. I am just kidding. I do have to admit that I'm starting to feel regret for casting out my beautiful deck, as they say, but the show must go on. I want to make the deck as good as possible, so it's time to finally hit our stride and buy the most cursed items in Yu-Gi-Oh! To make the deck both more consistent and just flat out better. Just before this, I actually entered a tournament, and while I did decently, I didn't feel close to as comfortable as I did with Charmers. Funny enough, I think that at this point I can almost consider Charmers to be my new main deck, and I now know how to play them better than any other deck that I have at the moment. Which kind of depresses me. But luckily for me, I get to play this deck as much as I want. Well, it's time to start the real shit, the pack opening. If you've been enjoying the content I've been making, I do have to ask you to subscribe and do not hit the notification bell, because who the fuck actually does that? For once, I opened my packs before I recorded this intro, so all I can say is I'm excited for you to see it, and watch for some awesome pulls. Hey, you guys like this little curve? So I talked about snowballing last time, and you want to see what that means? That means we get a single box of maximum gold. You know, pretty normal. We get 4 packs of Blazing Vortex, because, you know, I just thought it might be nice to open it up. We get another one of these as a promo, we get 3 of these as promos, and then we get the single most boring thing I could find. Dual Devastator. It doesn't really fit on camera because I've been doing this closer view. I think I'm gonna get the Dual Devastator over with, because I don't find it that fun to open this up. I live in New York, so sadly, even though it's really late at night right now, you guys will still be hearing background noise, either my neighbors stomping, or people screaming in the background, or me opening this Dual Devastator that I wish I didn't waste money on. You know what's my favorite part about Dual Devastator? This giant box for this. So for the most part, I think we're probably going to keep the field centers sleeved, because, or not sleeved, sealed, because we don't really need this. I'm going to bum rush through the Dual Devastator cards real quick, just to show you guys what we're going to be probably putting in. So going through, I personally love Ghost Ogre, so I'll have to see. By the way, I hate Dual Devastator because you see that little, like, kind of damaged border type thing that they have? They have that on like every card. So I really don't like Dual Devastator. So Ghost Ogre is pretty good, Ghost Reaper is pretty good. This is the main card. I think Ash is like 20 bucks right now, which is just dumb. We got Ghost Bell, which is also a pretty good card. Ghost Sister, Red Blossoms. And then we got the cards that we're probably not going to really play. Abyss Dweller might be pretty decent. 101, you know, rarity bump, even though I hate the Dual Devastator Ultra Rares. I don't think we need the Spell and Trap removal in any case. DD Crow is a very good card, but I don't know if we're going to be running it. Effect Veiler is a very good card, but we've already got 3 copies. I guess I could side it, you know, rarity bump. Gate Blocker. Tinko Sekka rarity bump. I'm not a scumbag, I'm not playing Inspector Border. Lancea is a good side card. Pankratops might also be a good side card, as well as Gamma Seal. Mind Control, this. Super Poly. Do we have Super Poly targets? We might somewhere, but for now, let's put it into consideration. Eclipse, we've already got that. Cosmic Cyclone and Called by the Grave. Great cards, both of them. Called by might see its use in the main deck. Aside from that, D-Barrier could be, you know, a rarity bump right now. I don't think we really have anything else. Solemn Strike could be decent. I mean, overall, Dual Devastator is Dual Devastator. We expected to get a lot of at least usable cards out of this. But now for the bread and butter, we're going to go into Mago first. If you're wondering why I'm going into Mago before Blazing Vortex, it's because first of all, we have OTS packs as well. Oh my god, I can't get this thing open. First of all, we have OTS packs as well. So there's always the chance at a Secret or a Starlight, as well as the chance for an OTS ulti. So let's go into Mago first. The goal here is obviously the same exact cards that we just pulled out of Dual Devastator. If you're asking why do you need to ask that question? We got Stratos, Noble Knights of the Round Table, Traptrix Mantis, Ghost Reaper, I mean we did technically get that, Dark Lord, Preparation of Rites. So my luck with Mago on camera has always been... Why can't I get this open? On camera it's always been like really bad for some reason. I'm like straight up damaging these cards. But whenever I open it in private, I'll always get like an Ash Blossom or something great with Dolce Chateau. Next card is Rhoda. Then we got another copy of Super Poly. We might have to find a Super Poly target. Might not be a bad idea. Stormy Mirror Force and Buffalo. Like, I genuinely do really enjoy this set, but for some reason my luck is so bad with it. Do you guys see like how weird Super Poly looks? Why is it like pink? Okay, so we got Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, Noble Knight Pelennor, another copy of... I think that's our playset. I think we've gotten it before. Whatever. Harpy's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, our third copy of Appaloosa with the beautiful, beautiful alternate art. Then we've got a copy of Mage Power. So I mean, our opening is, I'm not gonna say amazing. It's okay. We got Appaloosa and we got Super Poly, which are both pretty good cards. If we can find a Super Poly target, that might be a good idea. Noble Knight Tristan, Tachyon Transmigration. We got a second copy of Ghost Ogre. Another copy of Totally Awesome. I mean, okay. Harpy's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, and the last gold rare is... Oh my god, it was the last card! It was the last gold rare! Okay, we have two copies of Ash Blossom now. Sadly, it's the Feed Ash, and I'm not a big fan of the Feed Ash, but... Ash is Ash Blossom. Kind of slapped my camera just now, so the view might be a bit weird, but... I'm very happy. We have two Ash Blossoms. That's about as much as we usually want. Probably gonna open the Blazing Vortex packs first here. Blazing Vortex has some very good cards in it, but let's see what we get. We get Knight of Armored Dragon, Ancient Warriors Saga, Fabled Marcosia, Springin's Call, and Springin's Watch. You know, I considered Springin's for the next part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Restart. I considered Machina Springin's specifically because I really like Machina and I really like Springin's, but I decided against it in favor of a different archetype that you guys will eventually see. Is this the same cards? Springin's Call, Warrock. Imagine playing Warrocks. Springin's Paydor, Tri-Brigade Rendezvous. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but Blazing Vortex is, I mean, it's an undervalued set for the fact that it's also not the best set. Armed Dragon Ritual, Dogmatica Genesis, Parametal Foes Fusion, S-Force Showdown, and we got, okay, not a bad card, not a bad card. Definitely in consideration. Last pack of Blazing Vortex before we dig into the free OTS packs that we got with the rest of our cards. We got S-Force Showdown, Springin's Call, Rhoda, Rodats, Springin's Rocky, and we got VFD replacement. Fabled Abank, Horny Bonk, Springin's Payday. I mean, my luck with Blazing Vortex has always been really good, but maybe just this time I got pretty unlucky. Okay, so these I have to be very careful with because there's only 3 cards in this pack. We got Vampire's Domain, Shadow Vampire, and Crossover, probably the worst super in this set. Okay. Can we get an ulti Needle Fiber, please? I think I've opened 30 to 40 OTS 15 packs and I have yet to get an ulti. Griffin Wing, Tri-White, and we got Noctovision Dragon. Like, I'm genuinely not sure why, but this is probably the unluckiest OTS pack for me. I think you usually can tell if it's an ulti by looking at the card from behind, and this is definitely not an ulti. Windwitch Ice Bell. Rank of Magic the 7th one. Wait, but I thought you can, like, did they change this? Well, first of all, the centering's abysmal, but it doesn't matter. Hold on, I'm gonna go hold this up to some light. So you could actually see the ulti a little bit, but I didn't have it close enough to my light source that I would be able to see it. That's wild. Arm Dragon level 10. Oh my god. Oh my god, let me get a sleeve for this real quick. Here's my big issue with this. I kind of wanted this card for myself, so there is the possibility that I will sell it to myself and kind of pay out of pocket, but Jesus, I didn't expect to get it. Oh my god. Okay, we have like a lot of good cards this episode, so I'm gonna make a few changes to the deck and I will cut back when that's done. Let's do this. Okay, so now we've got our very updated deck. I was gonna do kind of a, you know, what I changed, what's different, things like that, but there's a lot of differences. So I can't go in depth on everything. So I'm gonna just show the entire deck and I'll explain what everything does. So we got our regular 4 Familiar Possessed, never gonna change, and our 3 Lunas. We've got our 3 Endymion, the Magistus of Masteries, 2 Rilionas, 2 Crowleys, and 1 Zoroa. Still hasn't changed. The monster lineup overall has not changed, aside from a few specific monsters. Nefarious Archfiend is the same, Nefarious Archfiend is the same, Shaitan is the same. Now our 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, our 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird, our 1 copy of Ghost Bell, and our 1 copy of Nibiru. I think honestly this episode might have the best pulls in the series so far, even like including the Nightmare Unicorns. Triple Spirit Charmer, 1 Awakening the Possessed, double Trismegistus, 1 Magistus Invocation, 1 Terraforming, 1 Secret Village, and a single copy of Called by the Grave, because that's all we can run. We've got our 3 copies of Possessed Partnerships, 1 Unpossessed, 1 Solemn Warning, and 1 Solemn Strike. The thing is, with this, we're gonna have a lot less dead cards in hand. That's kind of the main concern I've had. Let's go into the side, because the side actually has probably the most changes. We've got our 3 completely different copies of Phantasme. We've got our 2 copies of Dinko Sekka, which are also completely different. We've got our 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. I feel like there's no consistency in rarity in this entire deck. 1 copy of Gameciel, 1 Lancia, and 1 Cosmic Cyclone. I'm showing off the things that are like completely different from previous. You might be asking why I run double Ghost Ogre. It's because I like Ghost Ogre. Triple Twin Twisters is the same, triple D-Barrier is the exact same. One other important thing here, Artemis, Ninaruru, which, oh my god, I regret ever putting this away, because Union Carrier, Union Carrier was a funny choice. I'm glad that I thought about it before Konami decided to shut me down. Iwas, Vahram, the Nightmare Package, Hita, Proxy F. I'm gonna stick with this Art of Appaloosa because I just like it. Warlord Savage, Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. I did drop the Omega because I never saw an opportunity to really make it over Savage. We've still got the Bahamut Shark, the Toad. We're still only running 1 Toad. The Rarity Bump number 101. And we've got Abyss Dweller, which might actually come in handy quite often because a lot of the time I would make 101 when I had no real other options to go into, and Abyss Dweller would be a lot better going first. Man, I love this deck. It's so much fun. We had a lot of really good pulls today, and I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this, because if you paid attention to the last video, this is the penultimate episode. So let's see how our games go for this one, because this matters quite a bit. Match 1, and we're up against the best deck of all time, baby! We start with a small combo to get the board going, then use Secret Village, pretty much taking game 1. As soon as we see our opponent bring out a Pendulum Magician on board, we pop it with Possessed Partnerships and take the game right away. I do have something to admit here though. While I was trying to find someone to play with late at night, I had 4 games in a row where I'd win game 1 and the person would just leave. I could probably have used those games as wins for the series, but it just didn't feel right, but I will give myself 1 win for it. Match 2 is up against Demur Tundra's Blue Eyes Sealed Only deck. We start with Spirit Charmers getting partnerships and Awakening. With Luna and Awakening, we get Hita and Unpossessed, setting 4 and passing turn. On our opponent's turn, we fire off Spirit Charmers to get Wind Set and Asa in hand. We use partnerships to pop Blue Eyes and draw Zoroa off of Awakening of the Possessed. On our turn, we see Silver's Cry bring Blue Eyes back, but with 5 monsters with over 3000 attack each, we beat over Blue Eyes and get the OTK. Game 2, our opponent bricks and sets 1. We start by summoning Zorua, but that immediately gets met with Fiendish Chain, locking us out of making any more moves this turn. Our opponent continues with the Brick Eyes standard, and we use partnerships to pop Fiendish Chain on end phase. We proceed to bring out Borreload Savage Dragon and take the second OTK in a row. Match 3 is up against Necroz, a deck that I never actually played against in its prime. Our opponent pops off, ending on a Unicorn, which we can beat over since we aren't too heavily reliant on the extra deck effects. While doing the Endymion combo, we see Gungnir come out, which we called by so we could beat over the Unicorn and get our Totally Awesome on board. We make Bahamut Shark and beat over Unicorn and Talismandra, then make Toad and pass turn. We Toad the Talismandra, but after not reading it, I actually do something very stupid, which is that I flip it, and while it's face up on my field, I actually can't special summon from the extra deck. After throwing the lead and a lot of back and forth, we actually draw a monster, being a familiar possessed. We boost it with Awakening and Unpossessed, giving us just enough damage to close out the game. Game 2 starts with a Red Eyes fusion into Dragoon. Last time I straight up had no way to deal with it, and this time feels like it might be the same. With Rilliona and Trismegistus in hand, the goal is to bait out a negate and make Draco Berserker in order to banish Dragoon. Unfortunately, our opponent understands this and we're forced to make Draco Berserker and just crash. With a set Solemn Warning and Iwas on board, I feel like we have enough interruptions, but sadly that's not to be. I draw into Shatana, then Terraforming, then Ash Blossom, 3 cards that help a lot in any situation except this one, losing us Game 2. Game 3 is another Charmer only hand, and we pass turn with both Solemns, Partnerships, and Spirit Charmers. The idea here is to use Partnerships to bring out Hita, giving us a draw that we can discard for Spirit Charmers. We Warning the Necroz Kaleidoscope, then strike the Brio that comes out later, leaving our opponent with 3 bodies off of Kandal. We draw into D-Barrier for Insurance next turn, and Zorua, which we bring out with Partnerships, popping 1 monster. We equip Zorua with Ninururu and attack over the other 2, giving Hita, Area, and Artemis just enough damage to take the game. Match 4 is up against Armed Dragon Thunder Maids. Our opponent draws only boss monsters, so sets 2 and passes turn. We use Rilliona to get Trismegistus and summon out Win and attack. On our next turn, our opponent brings out Parlor Dragon Maid and attempts to use its effect, which we strike, leaving our opponent without options and taking Game 1. Game 2, and we definitely have a hand. We summon Shatana and normal summon Luna just to get the search, then make Abyss Dweller and pass turn since we really don't have any other options. Our opponent bricks just as hard, so they set 3 and pass turn. We draw into Spirit Charmers and manage to get all 4 Charmers and the Pseudo Charmer in hand at the same time. Our opponent gets Armed Dragon Flash, which can bring out level 3, but no other cards to discard or anything, so we close out the game. Match 5 is up against Chemicritters, a deck I have ragged on, so I was promised to be shown the power. We draw a similar hand to last duel, but actually have a few hand traps as interruptions. Our opponent is able to bring out Chemicritters, but since we use Droll, our opponent is locked out of the deck and chooses to pass turn. We managed to get all 4 Familiar Possessed in our hand twice in a row, and beat over the same monster twice, then absorb the Beat Stick with number 101. This went on for a while, but eventually we made Unicorn to shuffle back the wall, and Toad to stop anything else from happening, taking Game 1. Game 2 we set Partnerships and set up a Toad. The plan was to use Partnerships to bring out a Spellcaster and have complete spell lockdown and an Omni Negate, but set Rotation comes out before I can resolve Partnerships, so we negate it. Our opponent ends their turn with a U set. With our next few draws, we're able to bring out Zorua and Synchro for Borreload Savage Dragon, then use Bahamut Shark for Toad. With complete spell lockdown and 2 Omni Negates, we take our final game, ending us off at 5-0. Oh yeah, boys and girls, we went 5-0 today. The excitement of getting this in what's essentially just before the season finale is actually really hitting me. Along with the bonus $20 from going undefeated this week, we have a good 7 cards that we can sell when I looked back through all the cards that we pulled. For the most part in the next episode, it'll probably give us well more than we need, but I still don't have all the rules set in stone for the next season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Restart, so I'm genuinely not sure if we're going to be able to carry over anything like the money or the leftover cards. I do have to ask that if you've been enjoying what I do, please subscribe, it really means a lot. And I'm not just saying that, I've been loving doing this YouTube stuff for a while and the support is phenomenal, so I kinda want to take my chance at growing a bit more. Next episode is going to have 10 duels in a row, and while I'm excited, I've got my work cut out for me. A lot of cards to sell and money to earn, and I'm going to have a hard time going about it this time around. The episode was able to be finished quickly enough in 1 week for this one, and I hope that with a little bit of elbow grease, I can finish the next episode quickly enough, but most likely it'll take a full 2. I appreciate the understanding from everyone that's cool with that, and I'm gonna try to get a head start as soon as that's over to start working on the next episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Restart, or better to say, the next season. As to what deck I'm playing, you guys will figure it out next episode, but you should know we're not going into a structure deck. If we do go in, it'll be for random staples later on, but for the most part, it's going to be made from random cards and packs. As you guys know, I do love that randomness factor, which is why I went for Mago instead of a second Dual Devastator. Though don't be surprised if you see me open another Dual Devastator next season. Though I probably won't make it the only thing we open in whatever episode that is, cause I would get bored. I've also decided against mapping the episode count to a specific amount. I think that the ending will come naturally, and just like with the Charmer deck, we'll know when we've hit a soft cap on viability and consistency, and when we don't really need to open any more packs, and the point that we should be moving on. Look forward to the season finale of Yu-Gi-Oh! Restart. Thanks for watching, guys, and for the question for this episode, we don't have one. Make your guesses as to what you think the next deck should be, and if you liked the video, drop a like and maybe subscribe if you want to see more. Have a great day and or night, guys, and thanks for all the support.